What's up guys, it's Nicole, also known as Nikki Vegan, and today I'm going to be showing you everything that I ate today and sharing the recipes with you, all of which took about 15 minutes. They're all plant-based, they're all vegan of course, and they were all extremely delicious. This was a particularly delicious day and I'm very excited to share it with you, so let's get started. So on this and every morning, I usually start with a glass of water. On this morning, I had 2 glasses like this, and I just sip them slowly. I don't really believe in forcing yourself to drink water just because it's healthy, but it does feel really nice to kind of slowly sip water and hydrate first thing in the morning. And then it's time for my favorite time of the day, which is my coffee time. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely up there. I love my coffee in the morning, and I just make mine with some unsweetened almond milk. I love this one by Califia. I've been using it for years, and I do recommend giving it a good shake. I find that my coffee is always just a little bit creamier and a little better if I can remember to shake the almond milk. Alright, so I think I'm going to make some pancakes for breakfast because it's Saturday, and this week has just been go, 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 and I haven't really had a lot of time in the morning to just chill and have a nice morning to myself. So far it's been very cozy with my coffee and catching up on all the stuff on my phone, and now I'm going to go into the kitchen. I think I'm going to put on some Gilmore Girls and make chocolate pancakes, but like healthy chocolate pancakes. Just watch, it's going to be great. So for these pancakes, I'm just making my 3-ingredient pancakes from my ebook, which I'll show you right here. And I usually just pull it up on my phone so I can remember what the measurements are. And what I love about these pancakes is they're definitely a treat. They feel very decadent, and pancakes are just a very nostalgic food in general. But I also really love that they're made with wholesome, healthy ingredients. So, you're treating yourself, but you're also treating your body really well, which I also think is very important because it's nice to have a nice treat every once in a while, but it can often make you feel really sluggish and weighed down, and that's not a great feeling, especially not first thing in the morning. So this, in my opinion, is a total win-win. Another thing I love about this recipe is that you just throw all of the ingredients into a blender, whiz it up, and your pancake batter is ready to go. So I just add half of a cup of oats, half of a cup of almond milk, and half of a cup of applesauce straight into a blender. Then I'm going to make these chocolatey by adding a heaping tablespoon of raw cacao powder. And then I'm adding a little bit of baking powder. I did about half of a teaspoon, and a few drops of vanilla extract, which really complements the flavor of the chocolate and just makes it extra decadent. Then I'm going to set my pan to medium-high heat. This is on about a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and it can be very frustrating to put your pan on medium-high heat because if you're anything like me, I'm a bit impatient. I want my pan on high so I can get my pancakes now, but what that does is it kind of burns the outside of the pancake and leaves the inside kind of raw and doughy, and that's obviously not very pleasant. So I just put them on about a 5 or a 6, add a little bit of coconut oil to the pan, and once there's lots and lots of bubbles on top, I will gently flip them over, and that's how you get perfect pancakes. In the meantime, I just took some frozen raspberries out of the freezer and put them in a pan on about medium to low heat. I think this was on about a 3, and after a few minutes they're going to release all their juices and create a really nice berry sauce, and you don't have to add any liquids or added sugar, and it's just perfect. To top these pancakes, I go ahead and add a little bit of vegan yogurt and then the warm raspberries on top. If you've ever had a chocolate covered strawberry, that was kind of the vibe I was going for here. There's something just so nice about dark chocolate and, tart fresh berries. This was so good. Then I add a little bit of almond butter on top because almond butter on pancakes, on a warm pancake, I'm pretty sure that's what they serve in heaven. I think I can't imagine what else would be on the menu because that is my idea of perfection. So added quite a bit of almond butter to the top of these, and then a drizzle of maple syrup. This was so good, you guys. This was like the perfect blend of warm, fluffy, chocolatey pancakes with that creaminess from the almond butter and the vegan yogurt, mixed with a little bit of tartness from the berries and sweetness from the maple syrup. It was so delicious and the perfect way to start my day. Okay, so it's a couple hours later now, and I'm gonna go make myself some lunch. And I challenged myself for this whole day to just use up the stuff that I have in the refrigerator, because when I knew I was gonna film this video, I thought that I needed to go to the grocery store to get stuff. But I did a little scan last night, and I looked in my refrigerator, in my pantry, and in my freezer, and I realized that I actually have quite a bit of stuff. It's just that not a lot of it goes together, which is probably something that you guys encounter, because I know I encounter it a lot. I'm one of those people where I'm at the grocery store and I have like a vague idea of the things I need, but I pretty much just grab whatever looks good to me, and I kind of forget to think about how it's all gonna go together. And that can sometimes lead to me overbuying extra stuff, or, you know, ending up with a lot of food waste, which I'm trying to avoid, because obviously, why wouldn't you avoid that? Anyway, so today my challenge is that I'm not gonna go to the grocery store, and I am going to try to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner using the things that I have. So for lunch, I think I'm going to make a salad. I know that I have one random potato, so I'm gonna utilize that, just something quick. And dinner we'll figure out later, because I'm very hungry. So let's get started. So I went ahead and preheated my oven to 375 degrees and sliced the random one potato that I had into discs. This is just a really nice, easy shape, and this is only going to take about 15 minutes in the oven. You just want it to get kind of golden brown and a little bit crispy on the outside. So in order to make things fast, you want to start with the thing that takes the longest and then go from there. So these are going in the oven with a little bit of seasoned salt. You can buy seasoned salt from the store, but I have a recipe for it on my channel that I will link down below. It has a little bit of paprika and some cumin and some garlic. It's really, really flavorful, and I put it on literally everything, but my favorite thing is potatoes. So I sprinkle that on, pop it in the oven, and then I get started with the salad. So I went ahead and chopped up some romaine. I like to cut the lettuce really, really fine, because I find that it makes the salad much more enjoyable to eat if you shred it really, really finely. So I ran my knife through that. You also want to make sure that your lettuce is very dry. I just kind of pat it down with a paper towel, but this is going to help the dressing that you put on later stick to the leaves and make it a lot more enjoyable as well. So for those of you who think you don't like salads, those two tips are pretty big for me. So I added that to a bowl along with some finely shredded red cabbage. The cabbage is really great because it adds kind of a peppery, slightly spicy note, and it also has a really great pop of color, which is pretty as well, and it's just very healthy for you. And then I'm going to add some grated carrot as well, which adds more crunch and just a little bit of sweetness, which I really enjoy in a salad. Then, because snap peas are in season and they're one of my favorite vegetables, I'm going to add a handful of those. What I like to do when eating snap peas is kind of just pinch the end to get that fibrous tip off, because that can be really gross to chew sometimes. And then I also just kind of pull the top of it off so you get that stringy bit. And that way everything is just sweet and crunchy and you don't have any weird textures going on. I usually make this base in bulk, so if I'm gonna take, the time to chop up all these veggies, I'll usually double or triple this recipe and keep it in an airtight container in my refrigerator, and I can have it for salads over the next couple of days, or I use it as a sandwich filling. Like instead of lettuce or tomato, I'll just put a little bit of this veggie mix on there, or in a wrap is really good too. So whenever you're cooking in the kitchen, always think ahead and think if you can make a little bit extra, because it will definitely save you time. At the farmer's market this week, I picked up some dill and some scallions, so I added that to the salad as well. I usually have at least one or two fresh herbs on hand, and it is really a game changer in terms of adding tons of flavor to your food without really having to do much. Plus, dill and potatoes, which we're going to add on top later, is just the best combo ever, so I highly recommend this. Then I added about half of an avocado right on top, along with the crispy cooked potatoes that I took out of the oven. And then I decided to make my own dressing. I just basically took about 2 tablespoons of tahini, and I mixed it with about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard and a tiny splash of maple syrup. So we're kind of making like a vegan honey mustard dressing, like a creamy one, but this is going to be oil-free and obviously without the honey. So that little bit of maple syrup kind of replaces that. And then I do some water. I did about 1 to 2 tablespoons of water. You can really play with the ratios here. The tahini is going to thicken this dressing and make it really nice and creamy, and it does get thicker if you let it sit. So if you put it in the fridge for like 20 minutes, it will definitely become thicker, and you can, play around with it until it tastes exactly the way you like it. But this is a dressing I make all the time, and it's tangy and a little tiny bit sweet and creamy, and I think it is so good anytime you have potatoes and avocado in your salad. This looks, you know, kind of fancy, but actually this only took like 15 minutes and it was so freaking good, as you're gonna see in a second. Oh my god, it's so good. This is the perfect salad to make if you guys hate salad, because it kind of has everything that most palates really like. It has a bit of crunchiness, has a bit of creaminess, it's a little bit sweet, it's got a nice amount of salt, nice amount of acid from the mustard, the vinegar and the mustard, and then it also has like just the creamy potatoes, and the dill with the potatoes was kind of an accident, but it tastes really, really good. And overall, it's just a very interesting, satisfying, flavorful salad. I really think that making the lettuce really small and then grating the carrot and like the cabbage and everything just makes it so that you get a little bit in each bite and you're not just chomping on a big piece of lettuce or a big piece of carrot, because that can be what makes it boring. I think if you have a little bit of a lot of different things going on in every bite, it's going to be more flavorful and enjoyable. So that is kind of my trick to salads, and now I'm going to eat this because I'm happy that I made it to the cake bite. Okay, so it is dinner time now, and I was just flipping through a Deliciously Ella cookbook, because whenever I don't really know what to make or what to do with certain ingredients, or I'm in a food rut, I generally look to cookbooks or food blogs or whatever to get some new inspiration, because I'm definitely a creature of habit, and I was just gonna make all the veggies in my fridge with some rice and a little bit of avocado, maybe some hummus, and like call it a day. But that didn't sound good. Like, I just didn't want a basic veggie bowl. I wanted something a little bit more delicious. So I found a oil-free carbonara recipe in Deliciously Ella's cookbook, and it sounds so good. So I'm gonna make that. And actually, I didn't even think I had pasta, because the container that I keep my short pasta noodles in is empty, and it has been for a couple days. But I looked in my pantry, like I said I was gonna do, and I actually found that I have another container of the long noodles, which I don't use as often, so it was kind of in the back, and it's obviously perfectly good. So it's kind of annoying that I've been buying new pasta this whole time when I've had pasta in my pantry. But this is what days like this are good for. If you challenge yourself to use up what you have, you kind of take inventory, and it just makes you a lot more efficient with the things that you have. So I'm going to use those noodles. I have almost all the ingredients that I need for the recipe. I think it's going to be really good, so I'm going to give that a try, and I'll taste test it for you guys to let you know what I think. Full disclosure, forgot to film my snack, but I had 3 medjool dates with some almond butter in the middle, and it was delicious. But now that it's dinner time, I have the random veggies I found in my fridge. One is about a quarter of a small onion that I put some salt, pepper, and dried thyme on, and I put that on one side of the baking sheet so it could bake on its own, because I'm going to put different seasoning on the carrot. You totally don't have to do this, but I just find that it's fun to kind of layer on different flavors on different ingredients. So I went with some cumin and a little tiny bit of maple syrup, along with some salt and pepper, and this is so good on roasted carrots. If you think you don't like carrots, make this combination, pop them in the oven until they're kind of softened just a little bit and golden brown, and oh, it is so delicious. So I went ahead and mixed that together, and then I put this in the oven for about 15 minutes, and in the meantime I went ahead and boiled some pasta and then moved on to the sauce. Now, I didn't have time to actually soak the cashews, so what I did is I just used cashew butter, but if you don't have cashew butter, you can just soak the cashews like the recipe says. I kind of eyeballed it because I wasn't exactly sure. I ended up doing about 2 very generous tablespoons of this cashew butter straight into the blender, and then her recipe calls for butternut squash that you peel and steam, but I actually always have butternut squash in my freezer because I use it for my mac and cheese recipe, and this is already peeled and already cubed, and it's just so fast. I can't recommend having frozen veggies and frozen fruits in your freezer enough, because it really makes eating healthy very fast and very accessible. She said to use a lemon in the recipe, but I didn't have one, so in order to get that acidity, I went for about 1/2 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, some salt and pepper, and then about 3/4 cup of water. You can also use the cooking liquid from the pasta, because the starchiness in that water is going to help thicken the sauce as well. Then you just blend it up until it's nice and creamy, and in the last few minutes before the pasta is done, you want to stir in a big handful of either kale or spinach and some frozen peas. You guys, this is better than I thought it was gonna be. So this is a very creamy pasta. It's got a nice saltiness to it, but it also has a bit of a kick from the cayenne, and I love using cayenne pepper in creamy dishes to kind of cut through the richness. But this actually has a half of a teaspoon of cayenne, which when I was making the recipe I thought was kind of a lot, but it's the perfect amount of spice. I think it's a little spicy, like that kind of lingering flavor in your mouth is just a little bit spicy, but it just makes this dish so much more interesting than if it was all kind of one note and just creamy. So I love trying other people's recipes, other recipe creators' recipes, because you just learn and you get inspired. Like, I would have never used that much cayenne, but now I might be trying to use more of it because this turned out really, really, really good. So that is everything that I ate today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it inspired you to go into your kitchens and make yourself some healthy food, because even if it's just one home-cooked meal a day, it's definitely going to be healthier and more cost-effective. And as cheesy as it sounds, I really do think that cooking can be more of a creative, fun hobby than people realize. I know that it can definitely seem like a chore, especially if you're busy, and eating healthy can also very much seem like a chore sometimes. But I think if you think of it as a time where you get to take a break out of your day and go into the kitchen for 15 or 20 minutes and just create something, you can kind of think of your ingredients as your paints, and you're gonna go paint a picture. And I know that sounds so cheesy, it's such a cheesy analogy, but it really is like that. Sometimes I'll go into the kitchen and I'll think like, I have a lot of carrots, what am I gonna do with these carrots? And I'll look up a recipe, or I'll try a new method of something that I've been meaning to try, or that I've tried once in a restaurant and I want to give it a go. And I really, start with bunch of random raw carrots and I end up with something really delicious. And I think that that is such a fun process and a really fun way to kind of break up your day or punctuate your day with a little bit of fun and creativity. So I think it's all about how you look at it, and if you look at it that way, you're not only going to probably eat healthier and save a bit of money, but also have a little bit more fun in the process. So get cooking and let me know what you're gonna make. If you try any of the recipes that you see in this video, I would love to know, so let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye.